iPhone must be off mute. You're still on mute. You have to take the mark off mute.
Now it's good.
Now you hear it?
Now you should hear it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we hear it fine now.
It must have got hit in the middle. I
have to take it starts out on mute. That's
Yep.
Okay. So we see what that we're going to be protected.
Tell them where you are.
Did you hear anything up till here?
No, but I did the first half of the daf, so just
Okay,
continue wherever you are.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, you'll hear 1 second. Okay. So we said the Ksiv. How do we know? Where's the pasuk from the Ksuvim that we hear? The Talmidei Chacham shouldn't be charged for all these government things. The Ksiv, as it's written. Now this is what Daryavesh, the king, said to the satrap that was in charge of Eretz Yisrael. So these are 3 taxes: Minda, Balu. That's the word. It's called the satrap. The vassal. Minda, Balu.
What's it? You learn from Sansino?
No. Satrap's a famous word. Minda, Balu, V'halach. I'm going to tell you afterwards a story about Santino. It'll break your heart. It'll break your heart. Minda, Bala, V'halach. The 3. He says he commanded the guy in charge. He says Mindu, Bala, V'halach. These 3 taxes. We'll see. Lo shalit lemir ma'aleim. You're not allowed to force them to pay. The people. There's actually Knesset Gdola, and we learn that who are rebuilding the temple, and really we learn also that's all the time. Rabbi Yehuda, Minda Zumanas Melech. Minda is the set tax of the king. Balu Zukesagulgola. So that's the head tax, and halach no. That's a tax where you pay a percentage on the grain and on the animals. Rav Papa Rama Karya Chadta Ayasme. Rav Papa, when they had to dig a new water well, so he charged the orphans. Now it's not a problem. You can charge orphans for things. Orphans, their estate can be charged for things they're going to get benefit from. But here's the problem. Amalei Rav Shisha, Bereidu Rav Idi Rav Papa. He said there's a problem. He says maybe it's not going to. You're not going to be able to get any water out of it. You won't draw any water. Amalei says, yeah, he says you're right. He says, but don't worry. I'm taking the money and expecting them to mochel it afterwards, to forgive it, because kids can't mochel. Amalei says, Mishkal Shakilna. Yes, I'm taking the money. A midville. If we end up drawing water from that well, fine. They'll benefit. Be low, and if not, I'm going to give it back. I'm not going to expect them to forgive it. Yeah.
If he charges the orphans, then it's halachas kama v'kama the rabbanu.
No, yeah. No, we said for sure. That's why I said to you before. Anything that they get benefit from, everybody pays. Everybody pays what they benefit from, and orphans will pay for what the Talmidei Chacham won't pay for. Like we said. Now, everybody says you have to stuff up you have to pay what the hole, or you have to stuff up the gate. You have to pay for the doors of the wall. Okay, I feel miasma. Even what? Even orphans. Again, like we said, but not the rabbis. The orphans need protection. The rabbis don't. A call a kaya pacha. Everybody has to pay for digging a new well to drink water. Everybody drinks it. I feed them rabbanon, even the rabbis. But when do we pay for the new digging of the well? When they call everybody to come personally and dig the well. That's only when they're not going out themselves and digging the well. But when everybody goes out to personally dig the well, they make and in the rabbis, it's not covered a Torah for them to go out to dig the well. So machlokas whether they have to hire somebody else or not. Rav Pasach Otzaros, Rav B'Shnei Batzaros. When the years when it was a famine, Rav opened up the storehouses and he said, "We're ready to help everybody to feed them." Amar, but he didn't want to feed. You're going to see in a minute. He didn't want to feed people who are ignoramuses. Why? Because he held all the problem itself of the famine came from the ignoramuses. So he didn't want to feed them. Amar Yikansu Bali Mikra. He says the people who learn written law, let them come in. Bali Mishnah, the people learn Mishnah, let them come in. Bali Gemara, people learn Gemara, let them come in. He says Bali Halacha, people learn Brises, let them come in. Bali Agada, the people who teach Yaakov, who teach the Midrashic Gemaras, bring them in. But people, ignoramuses, they shouldn't come in. All the troubles will go to them. I'm not feeding them. Ben Amram ben Nichnas, his student, who was a big Talmid Chacham, Yonasan ben Amram disguised himself and he came in and he didn't let it, but he thought he was an Amar. So Amalai says to him, Rabbi Panaseni, Rabbi, support me. Amalai, so Rabbi said, Beni said, my son, Karisa, you learn written law? Amalai, no. Lav, he said, no. Shanisa, did you learn oral law? Amalai, Lav, no. In Ken, he says, Mishnah, etc. In Ken, he says, how can I feed you? Amalai says, what do you mean? You should feed me. I'm not worse than a dog or a raven. God feeds them. You should feed me. So he said, okay, he fed him. But after he left, Yossi Rabbi Kovetz tired. After he felt bad, he pressured him. He said he felt bad. He said he says Romer, and he said, he says, I'm sorry I gave my bread to an ignoramus. He's the one. They're the ones who are causing the famine. Amar Lafana Rav Shimon ben Rebbe. So Rav Shimon ben Rebbe said to him, he said, Shema, he says, Yonas ben Amar Taminecho, we said, Yonas, maybe that guy who you were sorry you fed, he was really your student as a Talmid Chacham who didn't want, okay, Shana Rotzah, Yonas Mikvot Torah, he didn't want Miyam, he never wants to get any benefit from the honor of Torah. So he disguised himself like an Amaris, but you didn't feed an Amaris. Maybe you fed a Talmid Chacham. But they went out and they checked it out and they found that was really the truth. Okay, Amar Rebbe, you can't so call, but Rebbe said, but let everybody in. Why? Because who knows who's who. Okay, Rebbe the time, but why in general does Rebbe not want to feed the Amei Aretz? Okay, the Amar, like I kept saying to you, the Amar Rebbe, because Rebbe said, "Ain't partners well all the the only reason there's any misfortune in the world is because of ignoramuses." Kahu, okay, to make clear the Shadi. Well, what happened was a Goyish king assessed the people of Tveria for the money for a crown for the king. He making the paper a new crown. After the coming of the Rebbe, okay, so now the unlearned people came to Rebbe. Amalei said to him, let the rabbis contribute with us. Amalei says nothing to do because don't contribute. Amrulei, they said to him, Arakina, okay, they said we're going to run away. He says, dude, run away. Good, go. Don't let anybody stop you. Run. Arku Palgain. So half of them ran away. Okay. Dayu Palga. And what happened was the king discounted it. He took off half of the assessment.
He doubled it.
No. He took off half.
Okay.
He took off half. So you see what they ran away. He took off half. Hana Palga came to Rebbe. So the other half of the Amaratzim came to Rebbe. And now the king what? But the king he was still demanding from them the half. So the half said, listen, let the rabbis contribute. No. He said, no, the rabbis are not contributing. Arukina, they said, we're going to run away. Aruku, he says, no. He says, this is a run away. I don't care. Arkuku, they all ran away. Pasha Ukobes, and only one guy was left, one laundryman. Shadu Akobes, the king said that the laundryman has to pay the whole half of the crowd. He says, Arakobes, and the laundryman ran away. Boka Kalila, okay, and what happened? And the king nullified the whole assessment for the crown. Okay, our Rebbe, sir, he said, you see, Shane Parnas, you see, exactly, I'm correct. But the whole decree only came as long as there were what? The Amaratz here. The second the Amaratzim left the city, there was no decree anymore. The whole decree only came because they were here. Now we said how long till does a person can be considered a member of the town, a person of that city? So he said it was 12 months. So he says we have a kasha. Didn't we learn now? You know the rule. There are two different rules. Okay, there's a rule for a person who does avodah zarah. A person who does a normal person, who does avodah zarah is killed by stoning, and his money remains in the family. But a person, if you have an area dachas where people convince other people in the town, and most of the town goes and does avodah zarah, it's a different rule. They're killed by the sword, they're beheaded, and their money is also burnt. Everything is destroyed. So you have to know. So in a given place, does a person have a rule of a normal person who did avodah zarah, or is he part of the town? So we learned the chameres gamelas. Let's say the people who are donkey transporters and camel transporters who were in the town. They travel from place to place. Okay, and they were staying in that city. And they were convinced with the other members of the town to go do avodah zarah. So now what's the rule? Okay, so we said those people who are not really members of the town, they're going to get stoned for doing avodah zarah as individuals with monopola, but their money's free because that rule, the rule of an irei dachas of destroying the money, doesn't apply. But if they stayed there for 30 days, then they, just like all the rest of the people in town, they're beheaded. And what? And their money has to be burnt. So you see what? How long does it take to become a member of the town? 30 days, not a year. Amarava Lokashi says that's not a contradiction we can't solve. Olive ne mata, he says when we said what you need a year, that's to be called a member of the town. Hardly tui mata, but what the 30 days is to be called a person, a dweller of the city. Okay, and that's and there and okay, and when by Yerni Dachas it says Haketaka is called Yoshvei, all the people who dwell in the city. You don't have to be a city member to get to, you have to be a resident. You have to live there. You have to dwell there. So Kedatanya, like we learned, Hamudar no. Let's say a person swore off benefit from everybody from a town. If he said Me'an Sheir, he swore off benefit from all the members of the city, the men of the town. Anybody who lived there for 12 months, okay, he can't get benefit because those are the people of the town. But if the people live there less than 12 months, he's allowed to get benefit from it because his vow didn't include them. But if he said in his vow what miyoshri, he swears off benefit from people who dwell in the city. Anybody who stayed there already for 30 days. That's what a dweller, he's already after 30 days, just like we said. But less than 30 days, then there's no prohibition whatsoever, and he can get benefit from them. In 1 second, but now you told me what? For all the things for a town, you need to be a town member, you need 12 months. It's not true. We learn that there's much other gradations, not 12 months. Say, okay, this is really 12 months. Well, Tanya, didn't we learn? Shloshim yom letamkoi. Okay, if a person lives in the city already for 30 days, he has to pay for the daily food fund. People would give food and they feed the poor people. Yeah. Once a person lived there 3 months, the kupa he has to give to the weekly fund that they give every Shabbos. Shisha, he lives there for 6 months. L'ksus, he already has to contribute to give clothing to the poor people. Tisha, if he lives there 9 months, l'klur, he has to pay for burying the poor people. Okay, Shnei Masar, if he lives there for 12 months, if he lives 12 months, he has to pay what? He has to already pay for the boards to strengthen the gates of the city. So you see, it's not always 12 months. On Rabbi Yochanan, Kitan, Nisim. In our mission, we said 12 months. Shnei Masar Chodesh, the Pasi Yirtan. Also meant those types of things. Yeah, like we said, like building the walls and building the gates, etc. You're right. It wasn't for everything. We never meant it was for everything. Romer Asiyam Rabbi Yochanan, I call the Pasei. He says everybody has to pay for the gates, okay? But after the strengthen the gates, so even orphans, they benefit. A Rabbanan Lo, again, the rabbis know why. The Rabbanan Lo tzrichin to, so the rabbis don't need to be guarded. Amra Papa, he said the shur or the parsha, when it comes to paying for the walls of a city, or for the horseman who's gonna circle the city, like the security man, to see that everything's fine, or the tarzina and the armorer of the city. Okay, who keeps the city's arsenal of weapons? Afilu miyasme, even the orphans have to pay because they benefit. But Talmidei Chacham we don't take. Okay, Rabbanan Lo, the rabbis not. Why? Lo tzrichin tusa, because the rabbis don't need any watching. Huh? In this case, since the psukim taught us that in this case, no, yeah, because because we brought so many psukim here, we brought that with this last on the last page several times. We brought psukim here. This particular thing, they have no need; they're protected. That's a different case. That we didn't say that. They may also jump into the water, but here, as far as protection from the goyim, they don't need. That's what we brought over and over again from the psukim. You saw the. So that we're gonna have to. I had somebody asked me that yesterday, and I have a few answers. By the way, but I have a few answers. Somebody asked me that question yesterday.
Whoever's in control makes the rules.
Yeah.
The rabbis were in
No,
control.
no. You don't want to say that. Yeah, you don't want to say that. Yeah. No, we learn from the Torah. They don't do. Okay. Told him, what's the general rule? Call me to these I know. I mean, I feel me. What the people share the expenses? Any place where they actually get benefit, and even orphans. Rabba, okay, Rama Tzedek asked me the Bey Bar Miriam. Now this is a problem. Rabba took, he actually assessed the orphans of Bar Miriam, who the children from a very wealthy estate. He assessed them for tzedakah. Only Abai said to him, we learn a pasuk. We never assess orphans for tzedakah. Even to redeem captives. Amarle says, he says, I did it for their benefit, that they will be considered also as lofty as their father was, to have the same reputation as people who do mitzvahs. So really, you're right. But I'm allowed to take money for them, the things that benefit them, to give them this stature. I'm allowed to collect them. If Hormuz, the mother, he made the Shabra Malka. If Hormuz, who was the mother of Shabra Malka, Shadra Naka the dinner of Yosef, she sent a purse of money of dinars to Rav Yosef, Amra, and she said, "Levin the mitzvah, but use it for a big mitzvah." No, he wanted to fulfill a word. Rav Yosef would come by, but he's thinking, "My mitzvah, what's considered a big mitzvah?" Abai said, "Well, listen." He said, "I'll show you a way to know what a big mitzvah is." Me, the Tani Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda. Since we just saw the quote we said before, the Rishmuel we said, "Ain't poskin stuck all." So my opinion for Shmuel when he said we don't take money, we don't assess orphans for tzedakah, even to redeem captives. Shmami no, when he said that, Pidyon Shmuel mitzvah, it must be a very big mitzvah. That's what even for that one, that must be a very big mitzvah. So therefore, we should do it. Okay, so therefore you should use it to redeem them. Yeah, to redeem them. And that's what he did. Amar le Rabbi where's the source for this? What the rabbis say, the pigeon shvuim mitzvah. Where do we know? What's the source that it's such a big mitzvah? Amar le, they see because when the Jews asked the Navi, they said, when they're going to say to the Navi, where are we going to go? What's going to happen to us when we go into exile? This is what you say to him, tell the Jews this. Who's going to die naturally will die naturally. Who's going to be killed by the sword will be killed by the sword. The one who's going to die by starvation will die by starvation. The one who's going to be punished with or suffer from being captive. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Call pasuk whatever is later in this pasuk is more suffering, is worse." Now let's examine it. How do we see that being killed by the sword is worse than dying naturally? It's either I can show you by pasuk, I can show you it's common sense. I'll show you it's common sense. Because when a person is killed by the sword, the body is deformed, okay, by being cut and by being bloodied. But when a person dies in bed, the body's not made disgusting. It's not desecrated. Or I can show you from a pasuk, because the pasuk said, "Your carbon Hashem the Masach." Hashem holds precious natural death for His righteous ones. So you see that's the better way to die. Rav Kashmicherev. How do we see that starvation is worse than being killed by the sword? Again, I can tell you it's common sense. Okay, why? How come it's not? Certainly, a person suffers from starvation, and they don't suffer from dying naturally the same way. I can show you from a pasuk, because the pasuk says, we say it every year. We say that the people who died by the sword, okay, were better off than the people who died by starvation. And we see being taken captive, that's the worst. Why the coolest thing? Because they're completely at the mercy of the captor, and every one of those things is there. Tanabana, okay, therefore what? So therefore we say pigeon shvuim is such a great mitzvah because that's the worst suffering of all. Because when they're taken captive by the guy. Tanabana, two bushel tzedakah, nigbeis b'shnayim. When we collect the weekly kupa, to the tzedakah money, you have to collect it with two people. Maschalekes b'shoshav. When you distribute it, you distribute it with three. Nigbeis b'shtayim. Why do you collect it with two? Shein osin soros al siva b'cham b'shtayim. We'll learn in a minute why. Because you can't do anything authoritative since they are mamash coming and taking the guy's possessions. You can't show any authority without two people. You have to have two. Maschalekes b'shoshav. But why is the apportioning it out? Why is it done with three? It didn't even us because they have to make judgments like a judge. They have to decide who needs more, who needs less. So that's like any monetary law. You need three judges. So you have to have three. The daily food fund, where everybody contributes food to, it's collected with three and given out with three. Why you collect it with three? You don't need it. The answer is what because since they collected that thing, give it out. It's too much trouble to send two and then to get a third to give it out. You already collect it with three and give it out right away with three just to make it. It's a practicality. The food fund is given out every single day. People need to eat. But kupa, the weekly portion, Shabbos is given out every Friday. Tamchui, and also the daily food fund, which is like more emergency, Laniya Olam, you can give it even to people who just show up from another town. Kupa, but the weekly fund, Laniya Eir, you only give it to people to the poor people who live in the city. But the people of the city have a right to change. For example, they can change the weekly money for the weekly fund and use it for the daily fund. But Tamchui Kupa, if they want, they can take the food from the daily fund or sell it, whatever it is, and you give it to the weekly fund. Well, Shanosa the Kol Mashir. So according to Rashi, they have a right to change it to anything that they want to. You can say similarly because it's given that understanding. There's big problems over here. There's lots of arguments to be shown about this particular point of changing. There was a time I got buying
as long as it remains
anything, but any
food money and buy the shoes, but you can't build a shul with that.
One second. Yeah. But so there was a time by the Chasam Sofer. I don't know if you ever noticed, especially in Eretz Yisrael, but they do it here also. And the people who come from Eretz Yisrael, they're always collecting for Achnasas Kala. I don't know if you ever noticed that, because that's the easiest thing to collect for. People like helping poor people get married. So, Bechlal says the whole Shiloh where they're allowed to lie in general and just tell people. That's what a lot of people do. They always say they're collecting Achnasas Kala.
Well, in Brooklyn, they all collect for the Mir Yeshiva.
Yeshiva, exactly.
The guys listen.
Yeah. So they once by the Chasam Sofer, the Gabayim had a large sum of money that was for Achnasas Kala, and he said, "I want you to give me the money." He wants to give it to a Talmid Chacham who needs the money. So they said, "Rebbe, this is for a Kala, not for a Talmid Chacham." He said, "If I write you a teshuva, I'll write you a response and show you that a Talmid Chacham is a Kala, you'll give it to me." So he said, "Yes." He wrote the teshuva, he proved it.
Talmid Chacham has a daughter.
And they say he proved he was a guy. Okay, Rashai B'nai lost us. And we have a rule also. The people of the city also have a right to. They have a right to decide what's the exact dimensions of a given measure. They're allowed to decide on prices. Okay. They're allowed to decide how much to pay workers. And they also right to punish people who don't listen to their enactments. We said before, we took it as an axiom that you cannot do anything authoritative like taking people's money in the community with less than two people. If I'm Rav Nachman, I'm a cock. We learn when they're collecting for the Mishkan. So they're going to take the gold, etc., etc. Haim is in plural. The minimum is two. Now we said what? We have an interesting point. Okay, to do something authoritative, they can't do it. But you see, the two wasn't there for the sake of believability. It wasn't in terms of like making them Adim, that we believe to Adim. We needed two because you don't do authority with less than two. But even less than two, you can believe somebody. You don't need two people to be trustworthy. This would support once Rebbe took two brothers, and two brothers, remember, as far as witnesses are like one, yeah. So it's like he put one person in charge to oversee, let's say, the money of the kupa. So you see that you can trust one person You don't need two people. For trust, you don't need two people. For nemanas, for no, to believe. It's not a question of edus or a question of, and if it's not authority, you can trust one person. You don't need two people to trust. My sarusa. Okay, what is it when sarusa? What does it mean? What does it mean to do authority? The fish mashna tzedakah, like I've said, you'll be total assumption because what? Because they actually take people, they actually foreclose on people's property, they take their possession. But feel Erev Shabbos, even on Erev Shabbos, you're allowed to go and take a guy's stuff, and you can't say, "Listen, I'm busy, I can't do it." Okay, is that true? Didn't we learn why Hashem's going to punish anybody who extorts, who squeezes other Jews? And he said, "What? He said, even Gabbai Tzedakah can't squeeze other Jews." But says, "Lo kasha." He says, "Don't worry, it's not a kasha." Hard the amid, okay, hard the amid. When is it fine for them to do it? When a guy is known to be wealthy, they're allowed to squeeze him. When he's not known to be wealthy, then you're not allowed to squeeze the guy. He held the Rav, like Rav did what Rav Nassim was a very wealthy man, and he forced him. He took 400 zuz from him for tzedakah. So now the pasuk says, "Maskilim yasiru," the enlightened ones, the learned ones, where they're going to shine forth. Okay, kazar rakia, like the shining of the firmament, etc. So we're going to explain what it means. That's a judge who judges truthfully. Tosfos learns also what the Islamita means. What sometimes, unlike in the secular courts, if the judge sees that a person is lying but getting away with it, he has to find a way to block. He has to find a way to mess up the judgment. He even you can't catch the guy. You can't catch him, and he knows the guy's lying. He has to stop. He can't. He will not let. He has to. He actually does something to gum up the works. He actually stops it. Okay, Matzdika Ravim. When it says people who make the many righteous, they're going to shine like the stars forever. Those are the people who collect tzedakah because they make all the other people righteous by collecting from them. Masnisa Tana, we learned in a brayso, what does it mean that the enlightened ones are going to shine like the firmament? Said that's the judge who judges really truly. The Gabbai Tzedakah, and it also includes people who collect. Now the whole extra faith, which we before said by the people who collect tzedakah, the people who make the many righteous, they're going to be like the stars, low and bad forever. Because that's people who teach children, because you make them righteous. Okay, Kagon Man, and who was the teacher like who was so faithful to children? Amar Rav. So Rav said, Kagon Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas. Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas was a sign, and if you teach, you know this. If you really teach and you had students, you know this. Rav Eshkechel Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas, the Habi Kabbai Beginta. Rav found Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas who taught children, okay, and he was standing in his garden. Amalei said to him, Shabakti Menusach, did you leave your trusted charges? How do you leave the students? Amalei said to him, he says, it's been 13 years since I've seen this garden, he says. For 13 years I've been busy with the students. And even now, even from here, I'm still paying attention and overseeing them. Even from where I'm standing now. It's been 13 years to get into this place. And even now, I'm still watching over them. But I'm still governing. Rabbanamai, okay, I knew if he said such great things, for the judges and for the judges and this one and that one, what about the rabbis who are constantly learning? I'm Ravina, it says the ones who love Hashem, it says Hashem is big. They're going to be like when the sun comes out in its strength, and that's going to be the sun in the future, which is going to be 343 times stronger than the sun is today. Tana Rabbanim, very strong. They're going to shine.
Talk about global warming.
Yeah. Tana Rabbanim.
Playing tennis, that's
yeah. Tana Rabbanim. The rabbis taught us. If the two guys are collecting the tzedakah, they're not allowed to break up and collect. Why? Now, there's two opinions. One, because they'll suspect each other, or we're going to suspect them. But if they split up and they're close, it's fine. If one goes to the gate, people living by the gate, this guy goes to the people who are by the shop, that's fine. They're still close enough. Let's say while they're collecting, one of the Gaboim, he finds money in the market. It's a lost object. So even though it's his, he shouldn't put it into his pocket. Ella what? Rather, he does something strange. It's his money. Right. Ella knows that he actually puts his money that he just found, this lost object, he puts it into the tzedakah purse. Why? Because when he gets home privately, he should take it out. So it shouldn't look like it shouldn't look like he put money in his own pocket from the tzedakah. A similar law. Let's say he's supposed to collect $100 his friend owed him. And the other guy paid him the 100 in the market. Even though it's his money, he should put the 100 into his pocket. He puts it into the tzedakah purse. When he gets home, he should take him. Why should
There's
just
another that says you're not allowed to like make change.
coming up? Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
How do you justify?
Stay tuned. No, stay tuned. Here, Tana Rabbanan. Stay tuned. Tana Rabbanan. The way we learned. Let's say the Gabbai Tzedakah don't have any. They right now. There's no poor people, and copper coins get rusty. You always want to. If you're not going to use them, you want to transfer them to silver. Partying, so they make change for other people. They impart last, but they don't do it for themselves. Here it is. They don't do it for themselves. Why? So because people are going to think that they're giving a cheaper price or better deal for themselves. Gabbai Tamchoy, people who collect the daily food. Now there's not enough poor people to eat it today. So they sell the food to other people. They and to put the money away. They but they're not allowed to sell it to themselves. Why? So people shouldn't suspect them.
So how do you justify that?
I'm saying we just said so they're not allowed to make change for themselves. We just said they can't do it.
But they put their own money in and took it out. That's
what you're asking me. So because it's in private. It's in private. That's a private thing. Right. We had it is his money. He has to get it. So we said was here. You trust yourself. Here, don't do it in front of everybody else. So they shouldn't. When you're home, fine, privately take it away. You're
but even privately.
He was the whole thing that shouldn't look wrong over here. It doesn't look wrong. He does. Here, the rabbi said, go home and do it privately. Yeah, that's what it is. Now we just one tiny drop is though. Marsa Ducking went on a son. Okay, Shtayim, Shtayim. Tzedakah money you shouldn't count 2 by 2. Okay, either because why? Either because people are going to think that you're cheating. You're counting 2 and it's only 1. El achasai, count 1 by 1. Some people say also just to be careful. When I was a kid, so in the school I went to, Rabbi Samson Zatzal was a big Talmid Chacham, and he was the Rosh Yeshiva, and it was famous because he came to his office. He took charge of the tzedakah boxes, and he'd come in, he'd see him counting the tzedakah penny by penny. Everybody knew it. It was famous. Everybody penny by penny. It was amazing. Amar Abai, Mereish Labi Yossi Mar Tzipi Debe Kanishta. He said, Abai said, he said, Rabba would never sit on the cushions of the Beit Knesset. Why? Because they changed the money. They took it from the tzedakah money, and they bought cushions in the shul. Came in the Shema Lahad the time, but when he heard what we learned later, we heard the brisa that we learned earlier. The people in town are right to change. Okay, so he's able to sit. That's Rashi. Rashi knows they can change it even to other things, not to things not for tzedakah, anything for the community. Because Amar Abaya, in the beginning, Rabbi used to make 2 different purses. One for the poor who came from outside the town, and one for people who came because people in the town maybe only gave money for the ones in the town. Came in the Shema Lahad Amar Le Shmuel Rav Tachlifa Bar Dimi. After he heard what Shmuel Bar Tachlifa Bar Dimi said to him, he says Avichad Kisa. He made only one. Okay. And when he made a condition, okay, because he said to him, no, I'm sorry, when he heard him say, because he told him what make one. I'm sorry. Make one, okay, make one, and just make a condition that when you originally collected, then you have a right to change it. Okay, then he also he made one and he made a condition. Rav Ashi Amar said, honestly, he said, I can collect and change it around, and I don't even have to make a condition when I collect it. Why? Everybody's coming to give. They're giving it according to my authority, right, or my discretion. And I give it to anybody I want. That's a daf. Everyone have a wonderful day. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you too.
Okay, father sold the business.
Okay, thank Erwin very much too.
Erwin. What?
Yeah.
Father on the lumber yards, he used to wear that bib, the dungaree bib thing, and a hat like yours.
Yeah.
But really he heard you all the way on the where's the tzedakah box? Put into big folded it in